Viewed from a distance, Earth appears as a single, perfectly balanced sphere floating in the void. Beneath the crust, it is a restless system. Recent geological measurements reveal that the planet's solid inner core is actively changing shape, constantly shifting the geodynamics that generate our magnetic field. Camera crews spent years tracking elusive species across hostile terrain. They brought back images of snow leopards resting on high-altitude ridges, animals thriving far from human infrastructure. These broadcasts left a lasting impression of a vast, resilient wilderness. Yet, while audiences observed these pristine landscapes on screen, the biological reality of the planet was quietly fracturing at a pace not seen since the last mass extinction. The framing of these nature documentaries created a specific paradox. The pristine imagery gave a false sense of security, masking the rapid collapse of ecosystems happening outside the camera's view. Vast, seemingly permanent landscapes, like the looping meanders of the Amazon basin, face intense, continuous pressure from logging, mining, and agricultural expansion. The geological churn of the planet's core operates on timelines of millions of years. On the surface, human activity can reduce a complex forest network to dry, fractured soil in a matter of seasons. How did the distance between the thriving wilderness we watch on screen and our ecological reality become so severe? Addressing the decline requires setting aside cinematic illusions. We have to examine the concrete policy decisions and failures of the past decade to see exactly where the global strategy broke down. In 2010, the international community attempted to map out a coordinated response. The United Nations drafted the Strategic Plan for Biodiversity 2011 to 2020. The objective was to directly address the economic and social drivers degrading the Earth's ecosystems. The plan's core mechanism is the 20 Aichi biodiversity targets. These explicit, measurable benchmarks grouped specific objectives under 5 strategic goals. Protecting wildlife requires regulating human commerce. Success relied on overhauling agricultural runoff, halting deforestation, and reducing pollution across multiple industries. This was the agreed-upon blueprint for stabilizing the biosphere. The results at this 10-year window offer a clear look at our capacity to execute global environmental policy. At the close of the decade, the UN released the Global Biodiversity Outlook 5. This document serves as the official audit of the progress made by member states. The findings reveal a stark disconnect between geopolitical commitments and actual implementation. Looking at the 20 target goals, not a single column reaches full achievement by the 2020 deadline. Only 6 registered as partially complete. Analyzing the sub-elements, 13 distinct metrics showed 0 progress, with several moving in reverse, indicating accelerating damage. Failing these benchmarks directly degrades the systems human populations rely on. Collapsing ecosystems weaken agricultural output, reduce the filtration of clean water, and eliminate natural climate buffers. The continued destruction of wild habitats forces close contact between human populations and displaced species. The global disruption of the COVID-19 pandemic is an undeniable direct consequence of this fractured natural boundary. The data in the Outlook report illustrates exactly how our current methods of production and consumption are systematically dismantling the foundation of human survival. Humanity sits at a sharp crossroads. We have a brief 10-year window to escalate our interventions and attempt to realize the 2050 vision of living in balance with the natural world. Meeting this deadline requires a highly integrated approach. No single policy change can halt the decline. First, international bodies must aggressively finance the conservation of existing genetic diversity and fund the active restoration of critical landscapes. Second, global supply chains require total overhaul. This means shifting how we produce and trade goods, focusing specifically on scaling sustainable agricultural practices to secure our food systems. Finally, climate mitigation strategies must be designed to lower atmospheric temperatures without accidentally placing additional burdens on the fragile habitats we are trying to save. The deep internal core of the Earth will continue its slow, grinding cycle, regardless of what happens on the surface. But the thin layer of biology that sustains us is cracking under the weight of our current trajectory. As David Attenborough noted at the conclusion of his landmark series, we possess the power to either destroy the living planet or cherish it. The decision rests entirely in our hands.